Hi, I'm Dave Wurzel and you're watching PHTV4. This is Police Update, and today we are talking with police officer from Palos Heights, Kevin Apostal. Officer Apostal, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I really appreciate it. I look forward to this. Your job is kind of unique. I think there's this image of police officers as, in their squad cars or, filling out reports or, tracking down, bad guys.
Sure.
You do that, but there's another part of your job, and that's community relations. And so we're going to talk about that. But I am interested, if you don't mind, can you share your background a little bit as an officer? Like, how did you get into law enforcement, and how long have you been doing it?
Sure. So I'll be on my 16th year in total, 15 years here. I started with actually two prior police departments before I came here. But my interest in law enforcement actually started when I was relatively young, somewhere around the age of 3. And I credit that with the experiences I had with law enforcement and officers that were kind of on the community relations page and reached out when I was a kid to say hi and introduce themselves. And
can I ask, so 3 years, that's a pretty distinct marker. Like, what happened at 3 that you became aware of law enforcement? Like, that's pretty cool. And
that interaction, officers getting outside their car and talking to me as a kid with my folks. And yeah, it led to a good impression, and I never forgot that. And it was always something I kind of wanted to do. So yeah,
it's kind of a nice story that way too, because so it sounds like, I'm imagining a 3-year-old. It wasn't a scary encounter. It wasn't a threatening encounter.
No, not at all.
It was something like that. Looks like a nice thing to do.
Yeah, and as the years went on, I continued to have those good encounters with law enforcement, and I said, wow, that's something that's interesting. Of course, as any young kid, you see the car and the uniform, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And that progressed, and as I got into high school, I became a police cadet with actually right next door to Palos Park Police Department, and I had a lot of great experiences there, and a lot of good exposure, and eventually I became what's called an auxiliary policeman with the Village of Western Springs for a little bit, and got hired on. So one thing led to another, and it confirmed everything I thought about the job. It confirmed that in a good way.
Well, I would say what a great story, and what a positive experience you've had. And obviously, thank you for the 15 years and
thank you.
16 and 15 in Palos, and definitely our game, right? The other communities lost, but thank you for being here.
Thank you.
It sounds like your background, then, your early experiences through your childhood, probably are partly connected to your other responsibility with the Palos Heights Department as a community relations person.
Absolutely.
Can you talk about what does that part of your job look like, to do community relations in addition to the other stuff you do? But what is that part of it?
So, and maybe I'll give you a little background on that if you don't mind.
Please.
Community relations. When I came here, Palos Heights always had a lot going on in that realm, and there was an officer named at the time Christy Pace, and she kind of started to talk to me about the DARE program. And being a graduate of the DARE program myself, and having a great experience with the DARE program, where I went to school in Orland Park, I thought it was a golden opportunity. And she was kind of on her way out and said, hey, is this something you want to do? And that's how I got into it. So I started with the DARE program, and then I was also introduced to other elements of what we were doing in Palos Heights, involvement with Special Olympics or the torch run, and different things of that element. So that's what kind of got me kicked off.
So things, I guess, we don't typically associate with being a police officer.
Correct.
But things police officers get involved in.
Correct.
What did you do with DARE? What was that like?
So for about 8 years, I went into different schools in the area, and we taught lessons on drug resistance and making good decisions, and those were grades 5, 6, and 7. The 2 schools I taught at were Independence Junior High and St. Alexander School. I had a great time with that. It gave me an opportunity to spread my wings a little bit with the community and get into the schools and talk to the youth in the area.
It's got to be nice also to probably be at the front end of, like, let's try and address these things before they become problems, right? Before you're dealing with the, and especially with young kids, like, why this is so important, and to get that message out that way. So I see the connection now. It seems like a natural connection for the path, how you started out. What does that mean now? So it's beyond DARE today, and
yes.
You mentioned a couple, I think the torch run and Special Olympic fundraising type things. What other community relation things do you do?
So along with, like you said, the torch run, we do National Night Out, which is our big event. It's like a big open house for the community. We do, on occasion, station tours. I do child safety seats. Really any presentation that's requested of me, I'll do. Like I think it's next week, we have a seniors group coming in for a tour and presentation. So any way, I guess the sky's the limit, if you will. Any way that we can get ourselves out there with the community, and it could be as simple as when I'm on patrol, I like to get out with the community. I always keep goodies in the car, and it's not, community relations is not just limited to me. Just about every officer here has picked up an element to that, and we like to put ourselves out there in the community.
I was going to say, based on the polar plunge, you know, I was at that event. I saw you and several other officers. Yeah, that's more than a one-person thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the torch run is like that too.
Absolutely. It's not, stuff like that's not only good for us as a department, but individually as officers, because I think that we just have a great time in doing it. And while we do it, I'd like to say we're helping a great cause.
Yeah.
It's something that's near and dear to my heart, the Special Olympics and the torch run. And I was introduced to that as a very young officer by some older officers here, and I never looked back. It's just a great. There
are a lot of positives going on there. It's good for the team building, probably with the officers themselves. Also, it's good for the community coming together that way, and then obviously you're helping a very good cause in the process. So this next question is going to seem kind of silly, and after just saying all that, but I wanted to ask you, like, what is the inspiration or motivation? Like, why is it important for the police department to work on community relations and be involved in the community in these other ways?
So to me, it's very important that we as the police get involved with the community, and like you said, vice versa, the community gets involved with us, because it creates a great relationship, a trusting relationship. And if we have to handle a call or we're out and about, it's not just another face, it's a known face, whether it's us to the community or the community to us. And I think that together we can accomplish a lot of good things.
It's got to make a big difference when you know people in the community, whether they're the residents or business owners or anybody active in the community.
Absolutely.
When you know each other, it changes the dynamic of the interaction.
In a great way, absolutely.
Yeah. I want to come back to a little bit. We talked about some of the events. We're saying the names like everybody knows. Torch Run, National Night Out, Polar Plunge. I know you had a Starbucks event, or Stars at the
Stars of the Bucks.
Stars of the Bucks.
We came up with that name ourselves. So,
what is the Torch Run? When approximately does that happen? National Night Out, I think, is in August.
It is.
Polar Plunge, we had that already. That was late winter or super early spring?
March, I believe we did. Yeah. So, for example, the Torch Run is on the 5th of June, and so we call it Legs, and we're a part of the Leg 5 for the Special Olympics, and it's a couple different communities in this area. And the idea is each leg has a starting point, and the finishing point is in Bloomington Normal for the summer games.
Wow.
So we pass the torch on to different departments. For example, with us, we grab the torch from the Chicago Ridge Police Department, and then we run it to Mokina, and it's quite a run.
That's a pretty
good run. It ends
up
being like 12, 13 miles, and pass on to them. And the idea is to promote the cause, to get ourselves out there and show people what's going on, and bring some light to it, And we have a lot of fun with it too. So every year it tests my athletic ability. And,
help you stay fit, right?
I hope. I hope so.
Well, I like the idea too. I mean, it is the Olympic, delivering the torch kind of thing, the journey of it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And we invite the community, if they were willing to or
want
wanted to come out with us,
Yeah.
And there have been years where people have come out, and even there's even a guy or a girl or two that are on a bicycle, and that's perfectly fine too. Whatever your challenges or ability to come out there, we welcome you to come out, be in the community.
No, that sounds great. And we've talked about National Night Out. I was there last year with you. You had a chance to talk to a few of the people attending, some of the officers, and that's a great evening. Can you talk about what National Night Out is a little bit?
Sure. So National Night Out, the main focus of it is it's the idea of the community and the police department getting together to focus on, fighting crime, basically keeping crime at a minimum, and a partnership between the community and us as the police. And in doing that, like I said, we host kind of like an open house night at the police department where we have food and games and all sorts of fun, especially geared towards the younger adults, and station tours. We have the state police, usually it's my brother who comes out with his canine, and just to show the community this is what we do as the police, and make ourselves available to have those conversations and have a good night,
And that's how I kind of wrote. There's a wide variety. As I recall, I think there's an opportunity to even sit in a squad car.
Absolutely, yeah.
You can take pictures with the officers. As a member of the SWAT team and detective division. Like everybody's there.
We try to bring everybody out.
The fire department was there too, I think.
The fire department comes out, and it's gotten to the point where, like most of our events, I must admit, even when I was younger, you're skeptical, especially as a newer officer. Oh, what's this about? It's gotten to the point where a lot of members of the police department, not only are they familiar with it, they want to be there. Once you get people involved and they see what it's about, it's, like I said, it's a great time for the community, but it's really a great time for us too. Yeah. Everybody enjoys it. Well,
I definitely would encourage people to take advantage of the opportunity to meet some officers. It's almost festival-like.
Yes,
I guess.
That's a great way of putting it. Yeah, like a fest.
Very low. I don't want to say low key because it actually is high energy, but it's just a fun, relaxed evening. I guess is a way.
And that's what we'd like to accomplish. So if we're doing that,
you're
that's
doing
good to hear.
Yeah, you're doing a great job with it. I think we've covered all the events coming up still this year, right? Torch
yes.
Anything else?
And sporadically there's different events that we jump into, and we're always willing to do so at the request of the community. Block parties. The recreation department has several events to which we get involved with, like in October around Halloween they have their trunk or treat. We love that event; gets us out there with the community. So there's all sorts of events, and like I said, the sky's the limit. If people have suggestions or ideas, we're willing to hear them and take them into play.
Yeah, no, it sounds great, and it definitely a lot of, like you're saying, great opportunities. I'm thinking about, I've had the tour of the police department, and it was a lot more interesting than I thought it would be. I thought it's just a small town, what can it be? But no, it's kind of cool.
There's some unique stuff for sure.
There really is. And nice to know it's available to other people or organizations in a variety of ways. I couldn't have you here without asking, because I can tell you're geared up and ready to get to work. It's summertime, and I guess I'm looking for any advice or safety tips you can give the community or residents at this time. There is this transition. School's letting out in a couple weeks, or for that matter, the weather's nice, so I'm seeing more kids on their bikes, more people are out and about. Any advice or tips you think people should be mindful of, especially heading into this time of year?
Absolutely. Like you said, with the kids out of school, this is a great community in which there's a lot to do, and a lot of people are going to be out, especially with the baseball games we have at Community Park and such. Be careful, be mindful when you're out there on the roadways and driving, play it safe. Also, the usual tips that we give, please don't forget, make sure your doors are locked, whether it be your car or your residence, stuff like that. If you're going out of town, we have the House Watch program in town here. Some people like to utilize. So, and of course, if there's anything anybody would need from us as the police department, we're willing to be of assistance in any way.
I appreciate it. I'm going to ask you to talk about the House Watch a little bit.
Sure.
And I'm thinking about, it is funny, it's summer. We start to relax, and you're outside more. And I could see where you could very easily slip into kind of a casual mode and like, do I need to lock my car? Yeah, you still need to lock your car.
Absolutely.
Always important. Obviously, with more children out in the streets, anybody actually, being mindful of how we drive and how we move through. If somebody wants to use the House Watch program, how do they do that? What
Sure.
does it mean?
And actually, in thinking about it, it might be more applicable in the winter when people tend to travel, right? Go to their winter places to travel. But the House Watch program was developed to assist people with safety of their residents while they're out of town. If they came in and notified us as a police department, there's a few questions we might ask, or if they called in. And I think it's about every other day. We have a community service officer that goes out and checks residents and makes sure everything's in order. So it's a good,
You said great service.
gives
imagine-
peace of mind, if you will.
Yes, yeah. Like my house is going to be empty for a number of days here. Can somebody check on it for me? Make sure-
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
No, well, thank you again for that.
No, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Kevin, Officer Apostle.
Well, I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in today. No, this is great. The community relations thing sounds like a wonderful, focal point for the police department, or one of many hats that you guys have to put on sometimes.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. Well, I appreciate you having me. Thanks,
Oh,
Dave.
thank you. Yeah, take care.
Thank you.
I'm Dave Wurzel, and you've been watching Police Update. We've been talking with police officer from Palos Heights, Kevin Apostle. Thank you for watching.